here's the reality. If it's even $100 million, I don't think Lopez is going to be around making $21.5 million for two reasons. One, they're not going to want to pay him 25% of the salary for a team that isn't going to be competitive necessarily. They're going to want to save that $20 million. They'll have proven that money is the driving factor here by slashing from 160 to 130 and then from 130 to 100. You're going to pay a starting pitcher $21 million to be on a bad $100 million roster. Yeah. And then beyond that, they can, if they're not going to spend money next year and they're not going to be good next year, why waste one of the two remaining years of Pablo López you have? Yeah. So that's why I think, yes, theoretically, even if they have a $95 million or $100 million payroll, which would suck, you could just trot out that roster with Cody Clemens at first and Trevor Larnach at DH or something like that, get a couple of scrap heap relievers and go forward. And yeah, that is that roster at $100 million. But that's not going to be a competitive team in my mind, unless you just get really great seasons from like Lopez and Ryan and Ober, something like that. In my mind, that is probably a losing team. But then beyond that, what's the point of having a lot of those guys on a team that has a $100 million payroll and isn't trying? Yeah. It seems like a weird half measure. Not that I'm saying I want them to take that route, but I'm just saying it's not as simple as going, well, for $100 million, they could have that team. Well, they could, but I think for $100 million, that means they're going to trade most of those guys. Yeah,
the two are definitely connected. I mean, go back to what we talked about earlier. Payroll and what your expectations are for this team are connected. And if you are choosing the low payroll, if that is the priority is low payroll, well, then you're signing up for expectations that are going to be of a low 70s, mid 70s winning team. And if you're going to do that, what are you spending? Why even spend that much? You know, why not save yourselves $20 million on that? Why not cut it down to $70 million or to $60 million or whatever? Or, you know, why waste, you know, like, as you said, one of the 2 years you have Lopez under contract when you could move him and get back a couple of prospects, which might help you even more in the 2027 season, which is earliest you can expect to compete anyway. Right. You know, there is an argument to be said, well, we want him in 2026 because we want him in 2027, you know, that we want to look forward to that. But I mean, this is the sort of thing that can snowball as well. Like, if you're at the point where it's like, okay, we're going to be down to 80 to 100 million, we're going to be down to a $90 million payroll this year. We're not really going to be able to compete this year. It's not that likely that we're going to be able to compete in 2027. Why aren't we just rebuilding? You know, I mean, that I'm not sure that's, as you said, anything else feels like a half measure at that point, right? And if you're going to be rebuilding, well, yeah, there's a whole bunch of guys that are eligible for arbitration for 2 more years. And maybe you're looking at 2028 or 2029. And I'll just add this as well. Like, if that is the sort of the dictate that ownership or new ownership or, you know, private equity partners or something are doing, and you're Derek Falvey and you're like, well, I mean, is that the worst situation for me? I get to lead a rebuild, you know, and I can say, I can't be responsible for the results we're going to see in the 2026 and 2027 because we're doing a rebuild. I had to trade all these guys away because of payroll. You know, I'm more than willing to do that ownership, but you got to understand, you know, I'm on contract for a few more years and I want to see this thing through at the end. That's not the worst situation for him either.
Where's monetarily, right? But he can get other jobs in baseball.
I'm with you on 100% on that.
Where's the pride and enjoyment in your life at that point? You're just a hated person who is leading year 11 of a rebuild. Like, what?
100%. I'm with you 100% on that. Right.
Like, I mean, we've both been in situations job wise,
right,
where you could have continued working somewhere and made money that is fine or even good. And we both, you more so than me, but I've certainly been in spots where I've come to the conclusion, like, I could probably be here for another 5 years if I wanted. And I'm not, you know, living check to check. Right. I'm doing pretty well for a college dropout doofus. But am I proud of what's going on? Do I want to do this for 5 years? And I always wonder, it gets positioned, and I don't blame you for positioning it that way with Falvey, where it's like, oh, well, the rebuild would give him job security. But what's the job at that point? The job is tending a garden full of weeds every day. Like, what are you even doing at that point?
I wonder, already at that point, if he's already at that point. Like, to me, just being in the situation where he is, if the dictate really is coming down that, we're going to lower payroll, we're going to take that, we're going to pocket that extra $40 million that we spent last year, or $20 million or whatever. It's going to come down another $20-30 million.
Right.
It's, they're essentially scrapping what you worked on the first 5 years of this. And in fact, they've already kneecapped it 2 years ago from taking that level. And, you're in this, you picked this career because you wanted to build something. You wanted to win a championship. You didn't want to caretake a poverty-ridden franchise to, make the boss happy. That's not why you got into this. So I don't know. We'll see what that plays out.
By the way, people get into jobs to make money. That's the job. I mean, like, we both like our jobs.
Right.
I'm sure Derek Falvey likes his job. It beats a whole hell of a lot of other jobs.
Yes, exactly right.
It's a job. The goal is to make money. It always was funny to me when somebody, like, in a job interview, would be like, well, what's the main reason you want to work here? And you're like, so I can live and eat. And,
right.
What do you mean? But first of all, he's made good money now for 10 years.
Right.
But I'm not trying to, like, live in his wallet.
And he's got a good reputation, right?
That's the bigger point is, if he resigned from the Twins, he could be the number 2 guy in a better front office, a more competitive front office in 3 months, and be making great money and maybe build towards another job. Now, I will say, from the promotion they gave him last year, he's one of the more powerful front office executives in all of baseball. He is the team president. He's not just running baseball, he's running business. There aren't that many of those jobs available. So he may look at it as like, okay, yeah, this team is an absolute mess. Yeah, I'm basically just being screwed over by ownership from an investment standpoint. My hands are tied behind my back. Everyone hates the team. I'm getting yelled at. Bonnes and Gleeman keep doing podcasts talking about what a bad job I'm doing, but I am running the damn thing. Like, I am.
Yeah, sure.
I'm running the whole show. My thing was be like, do you want to, run the world's worst circus, or would you like to go to a better circus?
Sure,
like,
that's right.
But maybe that's my mentality. Like, that's more my, I don't know, my mindset, and I know it's John's mindset. John, when I first met John, he would turn down gigs where I'd be like, "What are you talking about? You're turning down that?" Like, because you were an independent contractor, basically,
right.
And they'd offer you
there's only one of me, and I wanna spend that, and I only have so much time left.
Right.
You can see from the hairline, from the Hims commercials and stuff, we've only got so much time in this world here. Each of those years, each of those weeks become a little more valuable when you're 58 than when you're 28.
This just occurred to me. I always admired that in John. I have not, as someone who came up in blogging and dropped out of college and grew up not check to check, but single mom, we never had that much excess money. I've been hyper focused on always being employed, always having a check come in, never being in a spot where I'm stuck.
Yeah.
John, through hard work and probably parents who gave him better values about money, not feel like he had to have money all the time, got into spots where he was like, they want to sign me for 6 more months. I'm not enjoying this project. The money's good. I'd rather do something else with my life. And I always admired that about it, John. I wasn't quite able to take that as my personal motto. But now that I think about it, here's the one flaw in that I always admired John for, sometimes turning down guarantees or more money to take a flyer on something. But at the end of the day, and John's now 74 years old, as you guys can see on YouTube.
That's right, yes.
At the end of the day, here's what John did. He turned down money and projects so that, like, 2 or 3 times a week he could talk to me for 90 minutes. Now I really start to question, was it a smart decision or was it
just a mental illness? No, I think it's a fair question. And welcome to the end of this video. There's lots more. For another, just click on one of these boxes.
Or click on this circle in the middle to subscribe to all of our Twins Talk.
Thank you.
Gleeman